If you have a form that has a lot of fields to be added, one way to organize your form in a much more user-friendlier way is to add a tab control, and then on each tab you place common fields together. You group them together. When you add a tab control, it adds pages, and those are the pages that you then place the fields on. So let me demonstrate here. I have the listing details form open in Design View. I'm going to click my tab control. I'm going to place it at 1/2 inch on the width and 1 inch in the height. I'm now going to change the size of my tab control by opening my property sheet and making the width 4 inches and the height 3 inches. Now, I have 2 different pages here. What I want, and don't worry about the numbering of the pages, it just happens to, it picks random numbers depending upon how many times you do this. So I want to add fields to my first page. So I'm now going to click the Page tab, and you know that the page is selected because it has the yellow border around it. I'm going to add existing fields, and you want to be able to show all tables and expand your listings table, all the fields in your listings table. On my first tab, I'm going to bring over city and address. Okay, I'm going to then take my address text box, hold my shift key to take my city text box, and I'm going to open up the property sheet, and I'm going to make both of those text boxes a width of 2.5 and a left property of 1.7. I'm going to select my address label, hold my shift and select my city label, and I'm going to make that left property 1 inch. So I'm just putting the address and the city information on one tab of this current listing. On my next tab, I'm going to put additional detailed information. So you click the second page tab, and let's add existing fields. And this time I'm going to bring over square feet. I'm going to bring over beds. I'm going to bring over baths. How many garages they have, the year it was built, and the construction type. Okay. I'm going to select my square foot label, and I'm going to change some properties to it. So I'm going to make that top property of 1.4 and the left property 0.8. I'm going to take my square foot text box and change the width of that to 1/2 inch, 0.5, the top property to 1.8, and my left property 1.4. Sorry, my top property is 1.4. There we go. They're lined up nicely. I'm now going to take my beds label. I'm going to make that top property 1.8. I'm going to make the left property 0.8. Okay, I'll take my beds text box. I'm going to change its width to 1/2 inch. I'm going to change the top property to 1.8. And I'm going to change the left property to 1.4. I'm going to take my bath label. My top property is 1.8 and the left property is 2.3. And my bath label, my bath text box is going to have a 1/2 inch width, the top property 1.8, and the left property 2.8. Take my garage label, top property 2.2, left property 0.8, garage text box, or the combo box, excuse me, I'm going to make it a width of 1.5, the top property of 2.2, and the left property of 1.4. The built label is going to have a top property of 2.6 and a left property of 0.8. The year built text box is going to have a width of 0.5. The top property is going to be 2.6 and the left property is 1.4. And lastly, my construction label is going to have a width of 1 inch. It's going to have a top property of 2.6 and a left property of 2.3. And then my combo box for construction is going to have a width of 1 inch, a top property of 2.6, and the left will be 3.3. Now, if I just click outside this, I want to just make sure that this still is a width of 4 and 3. Okay. Now let's take a look at what it does, what it looks like. I'm going to click Save, and if I switch to Form View, you can see that here I have a property listing, and the listing ID is 10,022. The list price is $337,600. Here's the address, and if I click on this page, it tells you the square footage. So now let's change the labels for page 18, page 19. So switch back to Design View, and let's just click on page 18 and open up your the property sheet is open. Here on your name, all name, instead of page 18, let's call it location. And let's click the next tab and name this one details. Close your property sheet, save the form, go to Form View, so you can see here's the location and here's your details of this. If I go to my next listing, it shows you the details and location. And that's how a tab control works.